Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is our Let's Colour part 1. The winner of the vote this month won by quite a decent lead. It is the Kerby Rosanes book Worlds Within Worlds. I will be using, surprise of surprises, my brutfuner square pencils, and the page we are going to do is this one. We have this, is it a deer? Not sure. Some kind of horned animal with a city living on its head. So I think this will probably take a few parts. So we'll start with part 1. I'm going to work on the deer and maybe his horns as well. So as always, I'll show you a few bits and pieces and then let you work from there. It doesn't matter what you're colouring really, colour whatever you like as we go. If you're doing the same page and you want to use different pencils, I've just got quite a dark cool grey, a mid-toned cool grey, a paler, probably a bit of a warmer grey, and then a very pale French grey. And that's all you need. I do have a black on standby just in case somewhere. Is that my black? That is my black. I have a black as well on standby just in case. So I'm going to start with my darker colour. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit, I think. Try and remember to move you around so you can see. And yeah, the light seems to be coming from above, so all the darkness on the horns is along the inside, and then obviously you've got shadows under here from the buildings. I'm going to start with my darkest grey. I'm using 027 for mine, and we will make a start. I'm going to lay that along the inside edge. As always, just fade that off so the next colour will layer in without a harsh line. I'm leaving the bands for now. Sorry guys. Let's see, so we'll do to about here. Bear with me a moment. Sorry, my dad arrived, had to have a small small pause there. Get back to where we were. Let's have a little look. So a bit less shadow under here, but still a little bit from the buildings and the road, I think. And then what I'm also going to do, from about here-ish, I'm going to have a little bit of shadow, not right along the edge, but a little ways in. Sorry. There we go. Same sort of thing. From underneath as well. And again, just fade that out in towards the middle a little. probably am going to deepen that up with a grey, with my black in a bit, I think. Maybe a little bit there as well. Let's see. Okay, a little bit of black. Again, just to really deepen the darker edge. There we go, so all the way around there. Bit under these houses. You'll see the difference that makes, just makes everything pop a little bit. And just right the way along. Tiny thin layer under here. Okay, there we go. So I'm just moving into my next grey now. This is the 097. Sorry, that first grey, if I forgot to say, was 027. And again, I'm going to pop a little bit of this into the top tip now, and then I'm going to work this out from the last colour we popped down. Always more pressure towards the last colour and then fading out. If you prefer to work light to dark, you of course just do these steps in reverse. And then again, from this bottom edge, just a little bit. Can always go back in again later and deepen anything that we need to. Okay, I've got these two quite pale greys. One's a cooler grey and one's more of a French grey, and I'm going to pop my cooler grey in the middle up the top. That's the 096. That's actually quite a warm grey. Take it back. It's quite a warm, cool, a warm pale grey. It's quite nice. That will do. Work that all the way around just a little bit. And then with my final grey, this 064, I'm going to pop that along the edge and in. Along the edges that I left uncoloured and along the middle. Okay, I'm going to go back in with my black and just deepening this underside. I'm going to bring it out a little bit, explore it a bit further out, and I'm going to start to pop a little bit underneath some of these bands, just emphasising that they are popping out from the horn. We're just going to make that look a little bit more 3D that way. So we do that. Just a thin band. It should start to appear like it has a little bit of shape to it now, if you're doing this right. Same under these. And then where Kerby's popped some of his darker lines, I'm just going to add a little bit of texture now. Love a well drawn illustration, really does make this easy to do. Right, okay, that's the horns taking a little bit of shape. You'll see where I've put my darker little patches, it starts to make the horn look almost less perfect, more indented, like there's more shape and texture to it. I'm going to take that slightly lighter grey that's still quite dark, that 027, and just pop that in along the sides of those black patches. There we go. Okay, so let's see now. For the bands, I'm going to take my I'm going to stick with my cooler grey for some contrast this time. I'm going to take the darker grey and the cooler, the warm but pale grey, 027 and 096, so just a dark and a light set of greys there. And I'm going to, we'll just do a few from the middle. So the bottom side of my band will be darker, fade that to nothing. And we will do that for these. Fade that out. And then with the cooler, the paler grey, we're just gonna bring that right across to make that nice and simple. So you've got the darker grey along the inside and the paler grey around the outside. You can add later on a little bit of black just to create, again, just some shadowing around the objects that you've got laid down and around the edge of that horn, with the bands as well, because they would still lay underneath these items, so you're still going to have that little layer of shadow along the bands. And you can increase any shadows underneath there as you go. It's all about adding and building things up as you work on them. And to be honest, that's your horn. At the moment it doesn't look like much. Once it's added into the rest of the picture later and you finish them both off and work up the horn detail, it will look the way you need it to. And at the end of the day, it's a bone. You don't want too much colour or depth to it. It's actually supposed to be like a creamy grey, so that is all we want. And you can see that already those are starting to look like they pop forward from the base of the horn itself. So you rinse and repeat that for the other side. And I think as well, we'll do the steps while we're here. You need a very good point for this. I'm going to take my black and in contrast my very pale grey, and essentially I'm going to just pop some of my darker colour in very lightly into some of the steps. They're far too small and detailed for you to be able to do, you know, anything too grand. Well, you might be able to, but I'll rephrase that. For me to do anything too grand, most of my darkness I'm going to pop along this right side edge. And then I'm kind of just extending that out on certain steps just to add some contrast and change. And then I'm just going to colour that in across with my paler grey. I'm going sideways so it will blend sideways. I don't want to smudge my colours downwards. And to be honest, that it really is as simple as that for me with the steps. That is all I would do. Gives them a bit of variety without actually having to spend too much time creating anything ridiculous on an object so small. And you can then go back in a little bit again with your black if you want to darken that a little bit. And that is my steps. So, horn, job done. We have the head of the deer. So I have a bit of a ridiculous amount of pencils here. So I've gone with a very dark brown, a medium, a red and an orange toned brown, a little bit of a greeny brown, and then a paler yellow brown and a cream. And in the brutfuner, if you're using the same set as I am, I have 114, 117, 024, 025, 020, 093 and 069, and these will all be in the description box below as always. Going to take my darker brown as I always do, and we have the 114, and you know, we'll start somewhere. It's time now to decide whether we're going with a furry look or we're just going to colour. So I'm going to start with some shadows anyway. I'm going to pop some really dark brown in around his neck area so as to really make that face pop forward. And essentially we're going to make the neck much darker than the head so that it doesn't steal any of the attention, and because of course it would be shadowed in underneath there anyway. I'm kind of thinking that with Kerby's art style and the amount of detail he puts into the page, so basically what I mean is his line art that he adds, I probably don't need to mess around too much with creating fur. It's pretty much already done for you in his wonderful illustration, so I'm just going to work with what we've already got and just add colour. Again, it's a very detailed page, so you can take it as far as you want to, but sometimes the more we put into this, especially if you guys are more beginners, the more off-putting it can seem. So I just want to show you that it's quite simple to break one of these pages down and still get the effect that you want to without having to go totally crazy with all the detail. We will work up to that. Okay, so I'm going to just add all my darkness in and around from here as well. Let's see now. So you just need to get in all those little nooks and crannies with the darker colour, so it'll just look nicely shadowed in the brown. As always, fade that out as you come in, so it will take the next layer of pencil without a harsh line. Just going to bring a lighter colour in now, so this 024, I'm going to work that inwards. That's a bit of a reddish brown. Left that middle a little bit pale, and we're going to work our way through some colours now. So 025, this kind of orangish brown. Just going to pop a little bit of that in the sides of the throat, just for some variance now. We're just kind of creating the illusion of fur by adding different colours in here. So 020 is a little bit of a greener brown. Bring that in a little bit. And then this golden colour, this 093. Again, I'm going to work that inwards a little bit. I'm going to really fade this off to nothing now because I want it to make a cream. Okay, and then I'm going to add in some black. So in underneath this neck. Just going to outline the sides of the face a little bit with that. And a little bit where these leaves are really casting shadow. Bit of pressure along the edge and then fading that into nothing. Again, just nice and simple. You'll need to build up those browns a little bit now just to work out the white of the page. Just add a couple of layers of those same colours where you place them. I would of course always advise going a little bit slower than I do when showing you guys in these videos. Spend your time on it, get the effect you want. It's not a race. Okay, just going to zoom you guys out so you can see the effect of what we have so far properly. Because of course, zoomed that close to anything doesn't really look the way it's going to look. So we have his neck and his horn, and they really start to draw the eye now, create some attention, which is when you know you're doing your job properly. So we have his face. We will again come back in. Same sort of thing. Where we have darkness, I'm going to take my darkest brown and I'm just going to work my colours in and around. I'll show you in a certain area and then it's just a case of rinse and repeat. So really dark where he has his darkness. He does do a lot of the work for us, and we're going to end up with almost a stripe effect of colour. So where he's left it really light, we're going to we're going to use that and create those as our lighter stripes. So we're just working in those darker areas. Fading out. And we're essentially just following the pattern he's created for us. And creating our own where it gets a little bit ambiguous. Once you get started with them, they start to create themselves really. For the sides of his face, we're pretty much going to do a lighter version of what we did with the neck. And to create some cheekbones in a way. We're going to add some darker fur in underneath there, almost like we're contouring a person. I'm using his fur colours to create face shape for myself. You can see that beautiful pattern starting to emerge that he's created for us, and it really is the same everywhere. You just do that same bit. So the next colour I want to add is this 024, so quite a dark reddish brown, and I'm going to bring that colour again just inwards from what we've just laid down. We're now extending that around the other colour and just pulling it out, fading that for the next colour. I think there'll definitely be 3 parts to this somehow. Crikey, even just showing you parts of these pages is not going to be a short affair, I don't think. To just add a bit of that darker brown back in under there where I just extended this out. Okay, I would suggest as you use your pencils laying them in their order next to you so that you can rinse and repeat as you move from patch to patch to patch. I am going to add just a little bit of my black in down here. And the sides of the nose. And under this eye. I think it's just will accentuate those features quite nicely. A little bit here. So I'll add black to the front of my colour trio there. Okay, we've got this more neutral brown, 117, and this quite orangey brown, 025. And the way I'll work this is in some patches I'm going to use the more neutral brown. Again, I'm just pulling that out now. And we're just going to work that up and around. That'll be one moment. Okay, sorry. Right, yep, so that neutral brown, just picking little spots. And then in alternate patches, I'm going to add that more reddy brown. Orangey brown, I don't know, more orangey brown. So that's the 117 and the 025. And I'm more alternating my use of these in different areas to each other. And what I do when I have alternate colours like that, I'll keep them higher than the rest of my colour blend, so it helps me remember my pattern. We've then got this more yellow brown, this 093, and I'm going to work that all the way up to where I want my lighter colours to be. Let's see now. I'm actually filming in the daytime for once, and unfortunately the natural sunlight through the window is casting a shadow. I'm hoping that my light on the right hand side offsets that enough so that although it's there, it's not obstructing your view. And then I'm going to bring in my cream colour, this 069, and lay that into my lighter areas now. These bits are light so that it really does add an outline to his face, stops him blending into his neck, make it quite striking. Just have that cream in the edge of his face like that, so he doesn't disappear. And that is him out of the sunlight. I'm going to zoom you back out so you can see where we are at with that. Honestly, you can't film at night, you can't film during the day, and that's where we're at. That's the start we've made, and it really is a case of continuing your colours everywhere the same. I'm going to finish the other horn and I will finish his face, and we will continue in part 2, and probably part 2 will be greenery, and I'm thinking part 3 will be houses and background, or maybe part 2 will be houses and part 3 will be greenery and background. We'll see which way around it's going to work best, but yeah, I hope that's given you an idea and helped you make a start. Like I said, it's simple, it's just different colours, We're not even adding our own fur, we are just colouring in the texture that he's added for us. So nice and easy. It's more about the contrast of colours used to create shape in what he's left us. I hope this has been useful, guys. If you enjoy these videos, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the channel, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you, guys.